The funny thing about this heavyweight is I didn't pick up on him until maybe a couple of fights before he fought David Tua. This was actually one of the heavyweights that my father had told me about. Now, that time period where Ibeabuchi was fighting, it was during the late 90s when he was fighting. He only fought for a small amount of years. I knew it wasn't long, so I went back and looked, and he fought from 1995. Well, no, he started in 94, and he fought till 99. So at the end of 1994, he started fighting, and he was only fighting until the Chris Bird fight. And then after that, he caught the charges, and we know what happened, which we don't want to get into that because he did his time. Reflecting back on that time period, there was a lot of heavyweights in the late 90s, and we didn't know who would emerge as the top heavyweight. At the time, Lennox Lewis was still the top dog as far as I was concerned. He was the main man. I know it was in the late 1990s when him and Evander Holyfield did their thing. I can't remember what year that was, but I remember thinking that Ibeabuchi was my favorite of the lot. He was my favorite. He beat David Tua, who was also one of my favorite fighters of that time period. I know during that time period, you still had Michael Grant. Shannon Briggs was actually a ranked fighter back then. David Tua was a name. Galata. You had Hasim Rotman. He was around during that time period. And people knew about the Klitschko's at that time too. The excitement from the early to mid 90s was already starting to go away in the late 90s. And this guy was a breath of fresh air for me, man. I thought that he was going to come in there. I thought for sure he could beat everybody else, but I wasn't sure about Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield. I was never that impressed with Michael Grant. When Shannon Briggs took his first knockout loss, man, what was that guy's name who beat him? Wilson? When he took that first knockout loss, man, I wasn't that big on Briggs again. This guy beat David Tua, who I thought was a very good heavyweight. Mike Tyson was still around at the time too. My heart always went with Mike Tyson, but I honestly believe that there was a few heavyweights that could beat Mike Tyson after the Holyfield series, man. Ike was one of the guys that I was afraid to see Tyson get in the ring with. I didn't want to see Tyson get in the ring with Tua either. For some reason, I just thought that those were bad matchups for Tyson. I thought Tyson could have beat Michael Moorer and some of the other heavyweights, maybe Michael Grant. I knew Mike Tyson was way past his prime. So I was looking at other heavyweights at that time. Lennox Lewis was getting up in age, so I knew he wasn't going to be around forever. Some of the other heavyweights, they had already washed out. My favorite heavyweight from the 90s, Riddick Bowe, he was gone. Which one day I'm going to do a video on that whole thing between Riddick Bowe and Lennox Lewis in the 1990s, because that was some big discussion during the 1990s when Bowe threw that belt away. But we'll get into that down the line. Back to my boy Ike here. After he fought David Tua, I watched the rest of his fights live. I watched one fight before that David Tua fight. I can't remember which one it was, but I watched one of them live because I watched it with my father, around 1997 or so. 1997, 98, I was missing a lot of fights because, that was my prime. That was part of harder time. But seeing him come back, and Mr. Boxing Today, the heavyweight channel, was the first one who informed me. I was watching one of his videos. But seeing him come back now, at the age of 43, does he have a good chance? That depends. That depends if he comes back in shape. Everybody's saying he's in shape, but I haven't seen enough yet. I'm with Mr. Boxing Today. I think he said something similar, but I think that that's the key factor, is that this man has to come back in shape. He's coming back to a heavyweight division too, where the heavyweights are much bigger than they've ever been. The most recent comeback that I observed was that of Razor Ruddock, which was an embarrassment. A total embarrassment. But I think I had left a comment under Mr. Boxing Today's video, and somebody made a good point under his video and said, well, Razor Ruddock was 10 years older than Ike, which is true. If you're going to come back, I prefer to see somebody come back in their 40s than in their 50s. I know years ago, I couldn't understand why. Man, he must have been 55 or 56 years old when he came back. But I saw Ron Lyle make a comeback years ago. Oh, man, it was a long time ago. When he was in his 50s, though. I saw Ernie Shavers. I saw Ernie Shavers make a comeback in his 50s, if I'm not mistaken. And I just thought to myself, man, 50s, you're too old. But everybody has the right to earn a living. So even though I don't want these guys fighting at that age, not in their 50s anyways, they have the right to give it a go. I think Ike could make some noise if he's in good shape. Do I think he's going to become a heavyweight champion? I doubt he could beat the young guys, but we'll see what happens. He is 43. He's getting up there. Hey, not everybody could be Big George. We'll see what happens, man. I hope he don't embarrass himself, but the man got to make a living, though. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm finna head up here to the fucking beach because down here in Florida it's still hot. For whatever reason, we're not getting no winter this year. I mean, it's crazy down here, man. I'm out of here.